Ji-soo Kim watched the clock on her kitchen wall. It was almost midnight. Her children, Minna and Jun, had been asleep for hours. This was her time, the time when she could work without worry. She walked to the small room at the back of her house. It used to be a storage room, but now it held her most important possession. Ji-soo closed the door behind her and turned on the light. In the center of the room sat a small black cube. It was no bigger than a tissue box, but what it could do was beyond amazing. "Bilek," she whispered as she sat down at her desk. Binary logical algorithmic crystalline knowledge. That was its full name. To her, it was just Bilek, a piece of technology not from Earth. Ji-soo worked for Nextech Labs, a company that studied new technologies. 5 months ago, her boss had given her this cube to study at home. "The lab isn't safe enough," he had told her. "Too many eyes watching. We trust you, Ji-soo." She touched the smooth surface of the cube. It hummed under her fingers, responding to her touch. Ji-soo smiled. She was making progress. The black cube was slowly sharing its secrets. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Officer Tae-ho Park yawned as he sat in his police car. Night shifts were always boring in this small town. Nothing ever happened here. That's why he moved here with his mother after his father died. Peace and quiet. His radio crackled. "All units, we have a report of strange lights and sounds at 42 Pine Street. Possible illegal activity." Tae-ho sat up straight. 42 Pine Street, that was in the nice part of town. He picked up his radio. "This is Officer Park. I'm nearby. I'll check it out." As he drove, Tae-ho thought about what illegal activity could mean. Drugs, a party. It was probably nothing, but at least it broke the boredom. When he arrived at 42 Pine Street, he saw it was a normal-looking house. All the lights were off except for one at the back. He walked quietly to the window and looked inside. What he saw made his heart beat faster. A woman was sitting at a desk, her hands moving over a strange black object that glowed with an unnatural light. The light changed colors. Blue, green, red, in patterns he had never seen before. Tae-ho stepped back, his hand already reaching for his radio. "This is Officer Park at 42 Pine Street. I need backup. I think I found something unusual." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Ji-soo didn't hear the police cars arrive. She was too focused on the black cube. It was showing her something new tonight, a way to store energy that no human had ever thought of before. The loud bang on her front door made her jump. She quickly covered the cube with a cloth and ran to the door. Through the peephole, she saw police officers. Many of them. Ji-soo's hands shook as she opened the door. "Can I help you, officers?" Chief Do-hyun Cho stepped forward. He was a big man with cold eyes. "Ji-soo Kim, we have a report of suspicious activity at your house. We need to come in. It's midnight. My children are asleep. Can this wait until morning?" Chief Cho's face hardened. "Ma'am, we have reason to believe you're hiding illegal materials. Step aside." Ji-soo felt fear rise in her chest. "Do you have a warrant?" "We do." Chief Cho held up a paper. "Now step aside, or we'll have to use force." Ji-soo had no choice. She let them in. 6 officers entered her home, including a younger one who looked uncomfortable. His name tag read Park. "My children are upstairs," Ji-soo said. "Please don't frighten them." Chief Cho nodded to 2 officers. "Check upstairs. The rest of you, search down here." Ji-soo watched helplessly as the police began searching her home. Officer Park stayed near her, watching her with curious eyes. "What are they looking for?" he asked quietly. "I don't know," Ji-soo lied. She knew exactly what they wanted. Somehow, they had found out about Black. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Tae-ho felt bad for the woman. She was small and looked scared, but she stood tall as the officers went through her things. She was pretty, with short black hair and intelligent eyes. Not what he expected a criminal to look like. "Do you live here alone?" he asked. With my 2 children, she said. I'm a single mother. My husband died 3 years ago. Tai-ho nodded. He understood loss. What do you do for work? I'm a researcher at Nextech Labs. I study new ways to make computers faster. Before Tai-ho could ask more questions, a shout came from the back of the house. Chief, I found something. Chief Cho rushed toward the sound, with Tai-ho and Ji-soo following. They entered the small back room, where Officer Lee stood pointing at the black cube on the desk. What is that thing? Chief Cho asked. It's glowing. Ji-soo stepped forward. It's just a prototype for work. It's perfectly legal. I have papers. Quiet. Chief Cho snapped. He turned to Officer Lee. Get it. No, don't touch it. Ji-soo cried. It's very sensitive. Officer Lee picked up the black cube. Instantly, it began to pulse with bright light. The officer panicked and dropped it. The cube hit the floor with a crack, and a beam of intense heat shot out, hitting a stack of papers. The papers burst into flames. Within seconds, the fire spread to the curtains, then the walls. Everyone out. Chief Cho yelled. Ji-soo tried to reach for the cube, but Officer Park grabbed her arm. No time. We need to get your kids. The fire spread impossibly fast, as if the air itself was fuel. Smoke filled the house as Tai-ho and Ji-soo ran upstairs. They found her children awake and crying. Mommy, cried Mina, who was only 6. 4-year-old Jun was too scared to speak. It's okay, Ji-soo said, trying to sound calm. We're going outside with this nice officer. Tai-ho picked up Jun, while Ji-soo grabbed Mina. They rushed downstairs, where flames now blocked the front door. Back door, Ji-soo shouted, leading the way through the kitchen. They burst out into the cold night air just as the windows of the house exploded from the heat. Within minutes, the entire house was consumed by flames. Fire trucks arrived, but it was too late to save the house. Ji-soo stood on the lawn, holding her crying children. She watched as everything she owned burned to nothing. Her home, her research, the black cube. I'm sorry, Tai-ho said, standing beside her. This shouldn't have happened. Ji-soo looked at him, her eyes hard. No, it shouldn't have. Chief Cho approached them, his face angry despite the disaster he had caused. Ms. Kim, we'll need to take you in for questioning about that device. Tai-ho stepped between them. Chief, her house just burned down. Her children have nowhere to sleep. This can wait until tomorrow. Step aside, Park, Chief Cho said. This is bigger than you understand. No, Tai-ho said firmly. I saw what happened. That fire wasn't normal. Something's not right here, and it's not Ms. Kim. Chief Cho's eyes narrowed. You're making a mistake, Park. No, you made the mistake, Ji-soo said. And trust me, you'll regret it. A neighbor approached, an older woman named Mrs. Lee. Ji-soo, you and the children can stay with me tonight. Thank you, Ji-soo said, and then turned to Officer Park. What's your full name, officer? Tai-ho Park. Remember his name, Ji-soo told her children. He helped us. She looked at Tai-ho. Officer Park, you seem like a good man caught in a bad situation. When this is over, remember you tried to do the right thing. As they walked away, Tai-ho felt a chill that had nothing to do with the night air. An hour later, after the fire trucks left and most officers were gone, Tai-ho sat in his car writing his report. The official story, an electrical fire. Accident. No one's fault. He knew it was a lie. Through his windshield, he saw Ji-soo standing in the neighbor's yard, phone to her ear. Even from a distance, he could see her face was set and determined. The next day, Tai-ho would learn that Ji-soo Kim had filed a formal complaint against the police department. The day after that, he would be called into the station to meet a visitor from out of town. But tonight, watching Ji-soo speak quietly on the phone, Tai-ho had no idea how much his life was about to change. Jisoo finished her call with just a few words. They found it. I need help. On the other end, her brother listened in silence, then simply said, I'm coming. Tai-ho Park sat at his desk in the small police station, staring at his computer screen. It had been 2 days since the fire at Jisoo Kim's house. 2 days of paperwork, questions, and a feeling in his stomach that wouldn't go away. Something was wrong about that night, and Chief Cho was acting strange. Park. My office now. Chief Cho's voice boomed across the station. Tai-ho walked to the chief's office, where he found Cho sitting with a man he had never seen before. The stranger wore a plain black suit and had a calm face that gave nothing away. Officer Park, Chief Cho said, his voice unusually polite. This is Mr. Han Kim. He's here about the fire at 42 Pine Street. The man stood up and offered his hand. Nice to meet you, Officer Park. Tai-ho shook his hand. Are you from the fire department? Han smiled slightly. No, I'm Jisoo Kim's brother. I'm here to help with the investigation. Tai-ho looked at Chief Cho in confusion. Investigation? I thought it was ruled an accident. Chief Cho's face tightened. Mr. Kim has some questions, and the mayor wants us to cooperate fully. You were there that night, so you'll work with him. Tai-ho noticed how Chief Cho's hands were shaking slightly. He was afraid of this man. But why? Of course, Tai-ho said. Happy to help. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Han Kim didn't say much as they walked to Tai-ho's car. He just watched everything with sharp eyes that missed nothing. We can start at the remains of the house, Tai-ho suggested as they drove. Han nodded. That works. Tell me what you saw that night, Officer Park. Everything. Tai-ho took a deep breath. I got a call about strange lights at Ms. Kim's house. When I looked through her window, I saw her with a black cube that gave off unusual light. And then, Chief Cho arrived with a warrant. We searched the house and found the cube. When Officer Lee touched it, it reacted, shot out some kind of energy beam that started the fire. Han was quiet for a moment. The official report says it was an electrical fire. Tai-ho gripped the steering wheel tighter. That's not what happened. I know, Han said simply. I'm glad you're honest, Officer Park. Not everyone in your department is. They arrived at what was left of Jisoo's house. It was now just a black skeleton, with ashes where a family once lived. Yellow police tape surrounded the area. Han walked through the ruins carefully, looking at the burn patterns. He knelt and picked up a small piece of black material, put it in a plastic bag, and tucked it in his pocket. Where is my sister staying? Han asked. With her neighbor, Mrs. Lee. I checked on them yesterday. The kids are still upset, but they're safe. Han looked at Tai-ho with new interest. You checked on them. Why? Tai-ho shrugged. It was the right thing to do. This shouldn't have happened to them. No, it shouldn't have, Han agreed. Let's go see them. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. When they arrived at Mrs. Lee's house, Jisoo was in the front yard with her children. Mina and Jun were drawing with chalk on the sidewalk, trying to act normal in a world that had suddenly changed. Jisoo looked up and saw them. Her face stayed calm, but her eyes lit up when she saw her brother. Han, she said simply, and the two embraced. Are you okay? Han asked. We're alive, Jisoo answered. That's what matters. Han turned to Tai-ho. Officer Park, could you keep the children company for a few minutes? I need to speak with my sister privately. Tai-ho nodded and walked over to the children. Jun looked up at him with big eyes. Are you the policeman who helped us? He asked in a small voice. Yes, Tai-ho said, kneeling down. What are you drawing? Our house, Mina said, pointing to a colorful chalk picture. And that's the black box that made the fire. Tai-ho looked at the drawing. The box was drawn larger than the house, with rainbow colors coming out of it. That's a good drawing, he said. Mommy says we can't talk about the box, Jun whispered. It's a secret. Then we should keep it a secret. Tai-ho agreed, gently erasing the black box from the drawing. Some secrets are important. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Inside the house, Jisoo and Han spoke in low voices. They know about Black, Jisoo said. Someone told them. Han nodded. Dr. Lee at your lab was found dead yesterday, made to look like suicide. Jisoo covered her mouth. Oh no. He was the only other person who knew I had Black at home. Did they get it? Han asked. The cube. No. What they found was just the outer case. I hid the core component inside a toy in Jun's room. I got it out before we left. Where is it now? Jisoo patted her pocket. With me. Always. But Han, what do they want with it? Black is just a quantum computing device. It's valuable, yes, but not worth killing for. Han's face grew serious. There's something you don't know, Jisoo. Black isn't just a computer. In the right hands, it can also be used to communicate. Communicate? With what? With who? Han corrected. With the people who made it. The people I work with. Jisoo stared at her brother. What are you saying? I don't just work for the FBI, Jisoo. I work for a special division. We handle visitors, the ones who gave us Black. Jisoo sat down hard. Aliens? You work with aliens? And they gave us Black. As a test, Han explained, to see what humans would do with it. Would we use it to help ourselves, or to make weapons? Your research was promising. You were finding medical applications, but others want to use it differently. Chief Cho, he's just a pawn. There's a group called Earth Pure. They believe all alien technology should be destroyed. But first, they want to understand it, to protect against it. Jisoo looked out the window at her children. What do we do now? We need to get Black somewhere safe, and we need to find out who's really behind this. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Outside, Tae-ho was showing the children how to draw a police car when he noticed a black SUV driving slowly past the house. It circled the block twice. Let's go inside, he said to the children, suddenly alert. I think it might rain soon. As they walked to the door, Tae-ho saw the SUV parked down the street. Two men in dark clothes got out and started walking toward the house. Inside, Tae-ho found Jisoo and Han in deep conversation. I think we have a problem, he said. There are men watching the house. Han moved to the window and peeked out. Earth Pure, he said grimly. They found us faster than I expected. Who? Tae-ho asked. Han turned to him. Officer Park, I need to know right now. Can I trust you? Tae-ho thought about the fire, about Chief Cho's lies, about two scared children who had lost their home. Yes, he said firmly. Han reached into his jacket and pulled out a badge. I'm Special Agent Han Kim, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Special Technologies Division. Your chief is involved with a dangerous group, and my sister has something they want. Tae-ho stared at the badge. FBI. But why didn't you say so at the station? Because I don't know who else is involved, Han said. Now I need your help. We have to get my sister and her children out of here safely. Tae-ho looked at Jisoo, who was holding her children close. What about Mrs. Lee? She's at the store, Jisoo said. She'll be safe if she stays away. Han looked out the window again. 3 men now, and they're getting closer. We need to leave. Now. Tae-ho made a quick decision. There's a back alley. My car is out front, but they'll be watching it. Mrs. Lee has a car in the garage, Jisoo said. She gave me the keys. Han nodded. Good. Officer Park, you take Jisoo and the children in Mrs. Lee's car. I'll create a distraction. And then what? Tae-ho asked. Han handed him a piece of paper. Take them to this address. It's safe. As they prepared to leave, Tae-ho realized his life had just changed completely. He was now helping an FBI agent against his own chief. But looking at Jisoo and her frightened children, He knew he was doing the right thing. "Ready?" Han asked, his hand on the door. Tai-ho nodded. Ready. The quiet life he had planned in this small town was over. Something much bigger had found him. Han opened the side door of Mrs. Lee's house and stepped outside. He walked calmly toward the three men approaching from the street. "Gentlemen," Han called out. "Can I help you with something?" Inside, Tai-ho watched through the window as Han distracted the men. He turned to Jisoo. "We need to go now. The garage door will make noise, so be ready to drive fast." Jisoo nodded, her face determined. "Minna, Jun, stay close to Officer Park." They moved quietly through the house to the attached garage. Mrs. Lee's car was old but well kept. Jisoo got in the driver's seat while Tai-ho helped the children into the back. "Ready?" Jisoo asked, her hand on the key. Tai-ho checked his gun, making sure it was ready if needed. "Ready." Jisoo started the car and pressed the garage door opener. As the door slowly rose, they could hear Han's voice outside, still talking to the men. "Now," Tai-ho said when the door was high enough. Jisoo stepped on the gas. The car shot backward out of the garage, tires squealing. In the rearview mirror, Tai-ho saw the three men turn at the sound. Han used that moment to punch the closest man, dropping him to the ground. "Turn right," Tai-ho shouted. "Your brother will meet us later." Jisoo drove quickly through the back streets, following Tai-ho's directions. The children were quiet in the back seat, their eyes wide with fear. "Where are we going?" Jisoo asked. Tai-ho looked at the paper Han had given him. "It's an address about 30 miles from here. Some kind of safe house." Jisoo nodded. "I trust Han. If he says it's safe, it is." "Your brother," Tai-ho started, then paused. "He's really FBI." "Yes," Jisoo said, "but I didn't know about the alien part until today." Tai-ho looked out the window, watching for cars that might be following them. "How did you get involved with the black cube?" "I'm a researcher," Jisoo explained. "I study quantum computing, ways to make computers faster and smarter. My boss gave me the black device to study at home. He said it was a prototype from a foreign company. I never knew it was. Not from Earth." "And your research? What did you find out?" Jisoo's eyes lit up despite their situation. "Black can store and process information in a way our computers can't. It doesn't use binary code, ones and zeros. It uses something else, something that could change medicine, energy, everything. That's why they want it," Tai-ho realized. "Power." "Yes," Jisoo said softly. "Power." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. They drove for an hour, taking back roads to avoid being followed. Finally, they turned onto a long driveway that led to a small cabin in the woods. It looked ordinary, but Tai-ho noticed the security cameras hidden in the trees. "This must be it," he said as they parked. They approached the cabin carefully. Tai-ho kept his hand near his gun, not sure what to expect. Jisoo held her children close. The door opened before they reached it. A tall man with gray hair stood in the doorway. "Jisoo Kim?" he asked. "Yes," Jisoo answered cautiously. "I'm Dr. Tom Wilson." Han called ahead. "Please, come in quickly." Inside, the cabin looked nothing like its simple exterior. The main room was filled with advanced computers and strange equipment. One wall was covered with screens showing different locations, including Mrs. Lee's house, where Han was now gone along with the three men. "Where's my brother?" Jisoo asked, worried. Dr. Wilson typed something on a keyboard, and one screen changed to show Han driving the car. "He's on his way. Those men didn't give him much trouble." Tai-ho looked around the room, amazed. "What is this place?" "A monitoring station," Dr. Wilson explained. "We watch for certain signals." "From space?" Tai-ho asked. Dr. Wilson smiled slightly. "You catch on quick, Officer Park." Jisoo took a small device from her pocket, a thin cylinder made of the same black material as the cube. This is what they want, she said. The core of black. Dr. Wilson's eyes widened. You managed to save it. Excellent. Please, put it in here. He opened a metal box lined with some kind of special material. As Jisoo placed the black core in the box, a new alarm sounded from one of the computers. Dr. Wilson rushed over. We have company coming. And not the human kind. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Half an hour later, Han arrived at the cabin. His face had a fresh cut, but he was smiling. I see you all made it safely. Jisoo hugged her brother tightly. Han, what's happening? Dr. Wilson said something about company coming. Yes, Han said, suddenly serious. The owners of Blackie have noticed it was activated abnormally during the fire. They're sending a representative. Tai-ho felt a chill run down his spine. An alien? Coming here? Yes, Han confirmed. Ambassador Lorne. He's been to Earth before, but usually only meets with top government officials. Why is he coming now? Jisoo asked. Because BLACK isn't just a computer, Han explained. It's also a communication device and potentially a weapon. In the wrong hands, it could cause great harm. Dr. Wilson looked at his watch. The ambassador will be here in 1 hour. We should prepare. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. While Dr. Wilson and Han prepared for the ambassador's arrival, Tai-ho sat with Jisoo and her children in a small kitchen area. Minna and Jun were drawing pictures, trying to act normal in a very abnormal situation. I never thought I'd meet an actual alien, Tai-ho said quietly. Jisoo smiled slightly. Me neither. I just wanted to do research, to help people. You still can. Tai-ho assured her. When this is over. He was interrupted by a loud beeping from the main room. They hurried in to find Han and Dr. Wilson staring at a screen. We have a problem, Han said. Chief Cho is on the move. He's heading toward the station with 6 men we've identified as Earth Pure members. Dr. Wilson typed rapidly. They're accessing the evidence room. The black casing, Han realized. They think they can use it to find the core. Tai-ho stepped forward. I know the layout of the station. If they're in the evidence room, I know a way to trap them. Han looked at him thoughtfully. We need proof of what they're doing. If we catch them stealing evidence, we can bring in the FBI officially. I can help, Jisoo said. Dilak responds to me. I might be able to create a signal that will attract them, like a trap. Han nodded slowly. It's risky, but it might work. Their planning was interrupted by a new sound, a low humming that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The lights flickered, and the air felt suddenly heavy. He's here, Dr. Wilson said simply. The door to the cabin opened, but no one was there. Then, slowly, a figure appeared, as if fading into existence. It was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large eyes. It wore something like a silver suit that seemed to flow like water. Ambassador Lorne, Han said respectfully. Thank you for coming. The alien's mouth didn't move, but they all heard a voice in their heads. The device was activated improperly. This causes concern. Jisoo stepped forward, bowing slightly. I am Jisoo Kim. I was studying black when it was damaged in a fire. I saved the core. Ambassador Lorne turned to her, his large eyes blinking slowly. You wish to understand it? Yes, Jisoo said. To help people. To heal. There are others who seek it for harm, the ambassador stated. Yes, Han confirmed. A group called Earth Pure. They believe all alien technology should be destroyed. But first, they want to understand it to protect against future visits. Ambassador Lorne was silent for a moment. This is expected. Fear comes before understanding. Tai-ho found his voice. Sir, Ambassador, these people burned Jisoo's home. They're breaking laws. Our laws. And they will break yours. The ambassador replied. The device you call BLACK cannot be allowed to fall into their hands. "We have a plan," Han said, "but we need your help." As they explained their idea to the ambassador, Tai-ho realized his world had changed forever. Just days ago, he was a simple police officer in a small town. Now he was helping an FBI agent and an alien ambassador stop a conspiracy that threatened both their worlds. And somehow, in the middle of all this, he found himself caring more and more about a brave woman and her 2 children, a family that had lost everything but refused to be broken. "We move tonight," Han announced when the plan was set. "Officer Park, are you still with us?" Tai-ho looked at Ji-soo, then at Ambassador Lorne, then back to Han. All the way, night fell over the small town as 3 cars drove separately toward the police station. In the first car, Han and Dr. Wilson checked their equipment one last time. In the second, Ambassador Lorne sat perfectly still, his presence hidden by technology Tai-ho couldn't begin to understand. In the third car, Tai-ho drove with Ji-soo beside him. "Are you sure about this?" Tai-ho asked her. "It's dangerous." Ji-soo held the small black core in her palm. It glowed softly, responding to her touch. "I'm sure. They'd burned my home. They put my children in danger. I want to see this finished." Her children were safe back at the cabin, watched over by 2 FBI agents Han had called in. Only those directly involved in the trap knew about Ambassador Lorne's presence. Some secrets were too big even for the FBI. "We're in position." Han's voice came through the small radio in Tai-ho's car. "Officer Park, you're up." Tai-ho took a deep breath and got out of the car. He was still in his police uniform, which would give him access to the station without questions. Ji-soo stayed in the car, ready for her part of the plan. The night officer at the desk looked up as Tai-ho entered. "Park, I thought you were off tonight." "Forgot some paperwork," Tai-ho said with a smile. "Chief would kill me if I don't get it done by morning." The officer nodded and went back to his magazine. Tai-ho walked through the station, noting that Chief Cho's office light was on. Through the window in the door, he could see Cho and 3 men in suits, Earth Pure members, according to Han. Tai-ho continued to the evidence room. The door was unlocked, a violation of policy. Inside, 2 more men were going through boxes. They froze when they saw him. "Officer Park," one said, recovering quickly. "The chief said you were on leave." "Just came to pick something up," Tai-ho replied. He noticed the black casing on the table. "I see you found what you were looking for." The men exchanged glances. "This is official business," the second man said. "You should leave." "Official?" Tai-ho asked, reaching for the small camera hidden in his pocket. "Does that include stealing evidence and tampering with an investigation?" The first man stepped toward him, hand moving inside his jacket. "You're making a mistake, officer." "No," Tai-ho said, pressing the button on the radio in his pocket. "You made the mistake. Now." The lights in the evidence room flickered, then went out completely. In the darkness, Tai-ho moved quickly to the side door, the one that led to the back alley. He opened it just as bright blue light began to shine from outside. Ji-soo stood in the alley, the black core held high. It pulsed with intense light, sending a beam straight up into the night sky. The men from the evidence room rushed out, drawn to the light like moths to a flame. "That's it," one shouted. "Get her." But before they could reach Ji-soo, bright lights surrounded them from all sides. Han and Dr. Wilson stepped from the shadows, holding strange devices that projected energy fields. The men were trapped, unable to move. "FBI," Han announced. "You're under arrest for theft of government property, conspiracy, and treason." Inside the station, alarms began to sound. Tai-ho rushed back in to find chaos. Chief Cho and the 3 men from his office were running toward the back exit, guns drawn. "Stop!" Tai-ho shouted, drawing his own weapon. "Chief Cho, it's over." Cho turned, his face twisted with anger. "Park, you fool. You have no idea what you're involved in." "I know enough," Tai-ho replied. I know you burned down a home with children inside. I know you're working with terrorists. That's enough for me. They're not terrorists, Cho spat. They're patriots. These aliens will destroy us if we don't fight back. No one wants to destroy you, a calm voice said from behind Taiho. Ambassador Lorne stepped into the hallway, his blue skin glowing softly in the dim light. Chief Cho and his men froze, their faces showing a mix of fear and hatred. We only wish to share knowledge, the ambassador continued. Knowledge that could help your world. Lies, one of the earth-pure men shouted, raising his gun toward the ambassador. Taiho reacted instantly, diving forward to tackle the man. The gun fired, the bullet hitting the ceiling. In the chaos that followed, Han and more FBI agents rushed in, quickly subduing Chief Cho and his accomplices. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. 3 hours later, Taiho sat in an empty office at the station, trying to process everything that had happened. The Earth Pure members were in custody, along with Chief Cho. The FBI had taken over the case, with agents going through files and computers, uncovering the full extent of the conspiracy. The door opened, and Ji-Soo walked in. She looked tired but relieved. It's over, she said. Taiho nodded. What happens now? Han says I can go back to my research, Ji-Soo said, sitting beside him. With proper supervision this time, the government will help rebuild our home. And the children. Ji-Soo smiled softly. They're excited about having a new house. Children are amazing that way, so resilient. Taiho looked down at his badge on the table. I don't think I can be a police officer here anymore. Not after this. What will you do? Before he could answer, Han entered the room. Officer Park, I've been authorized to offer you a position. Taiho looked up in surprise. A position. With my division, Han explained. We need good people who can handle unusual situations. People who do the right thing, even when it's hard. I don't know what to say, Taiho stammered. Say yes, Ji-Soo encouraged. You'd be good at it. Han handed him a folder. Take some time to think about it, but not too long. Ambassador Lorne was impressed with you. That doesn't happen often. After Han left, Taiho opened the folder. Inside were details of a new job, a new life, one very different from the quiet existence he had planned. What do you think? Ji-Soo asked. Taiho looked at her. I think I need to talk to my mother first. She moved here for the quiet life. Ji-Soo laughed softly. After tonight, I think quiet is no longer an option for any of us. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. 1 month later. The new house looked much like the old one from the outside, but inside it was very different. Special materials in the walls prevented scanning, and the basement had been converted into a secure lab. Ji-Soo's research continued, now with full knowledge of what she was working with. Taiho parked his car in front of the house and straightened his new tie. The FBI badge felt heavy in his pocket, still unfamiliar. His mother had taken the news of his career change surprisingly well. You were never meant for a small town, she had said. Your father would be proud. Mina and Jun burst out of the front door when they saw him. Officer Park, they shouted, running to hug him. Just Taiho now, he reminded them, smiling. I'm not a police officer anymore. Ji-Soo appeared in the doorway, wearing a lab coat. Are you ready for your first day of training? She asked. As ready as I'll ever be, Taiho replied. Han says I'll be working with your team sometimes, helping with security. Good, Ji-Soo said. I feel safer when you're around. Inside, the living room was filled with moving boxes. Taiho had sold his small apartment and would be relocating closer to the new FBI office, which happened to be just 10 minutes from Ji-Soo's house. Any word from our blue friend? Taiho asked quietly, making sure the children couldn't hear. Ji-Soo nodded. Ambassador Lorne will return next month. He's bringing others who want to see our progress. Han says it's a good sign. They trust us more now. Because of you, Taiho said. You proved humans can be trusted with their technology. Not just me, Jisoo corrected. You too. You chose to do the right thing, even when it meant going against your own people. Taiho looked around the new house, at the children playing, at the woman who had lost everything but kept fighting. 1 week ago, he had been a small-town police officer with simple dreams. Now he was part of something much bigger, something that could change the world. I have something for you, Jisoo said, handing him a small box. Inside was a tiny black cube, much smaller than the original Bilek device, but made of the same material. What is it? Taiho asked. Ambassador Lorne called it a token of friendship. It's a communicator. If you ever need help, it will call me, and I'll come. Taiho closed his hand around the small cube, feeling it warm to his touch. I have a feeling we're going to need each other a lot in the coming days. Jisoo smiled. I'm counting on it. Outside the window, the sun shone brightly on a world that looked the same but had changed forever. Somewhere in the vast universe, others were watching, waiting to see what humans would do with the gifts they had been given. And in a small town that had once seemed so quiet, a new chapter was beginning. Taiho looked at the black cube in his palm, then at Jisoo. Ready for whatever comes next. Together, she said. We're ready together.